episode 91 of Below the Belt, joined today by Flonius Burolf. What's going on, champ?
Hello. Good, man. There's so much boxing on over the weekend, but as ever, I only watched the main bits, the headliners.
There wasn't, to be honest, there wasn't too much that was amazing, really, and we're going to come on to that. In association with Boxing Social, you'll find the podcast on their YouTube channel, which has just reached the magical number of 100,000 subscribers. So congrats to them. As always, if you guys could leave us nice iTunes reviews, that'd be really good. Get 5-star reviews on there. We've been up in the charts before, but it'd be nice to come back on the charts, kind of like a George Foreman, kind of come back and make our way back up the rankings on the iTunes charts. That'd be really nice.
There's one thing though. What's Boxing Social's handle on Twitter and their social media, just so people know where to find it? Is it just boxing_social?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah, boxing_social, yeah. No, it's just yeah, it is boxing_social, yeah.
Seamless.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it is boxing_social. Well done, T. So yeah, that's where theirs is, and our social media for people listening on YouTube is the Twitter is @belowthebelt_. The Facebook is facebook.com/btbpod, and the Instagram is belowthebeltpod. So it was it was big fight. It's kind of like the straw that stirs the Sky Sports drink tea, isn't it? The Anthony Joshua Roadshow. It's always what everyone I think all the casual fans kind of look forward to. That's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't even matter who he fights. They're still flocked to pay the pay-per-view, watch his fights, get all the excitement. And yeah, it's a massive part of a match for him.
And everybody who doesn't follow boxing, you will get people that know you and know you're into boxing will message you and go, oh, is it Joshua on tonight? Who's he fighting again? Oh, do you think he's going to win? You get all those messages all the time from people that that don't really follow boxing but kind of have an interest in Anthony Joshua and all of that.
Yeah, what time the fight's going to start and that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we get that question every time. What time's the ring walk? And you never really know, do you? Because it kind of depends on the undercard and everything else. And they never really announce it, do they? Because they want you to watch the undercard. So I thought what we'd do, is we'd kind of go in chronological order for this. And I thought the first thing we could talk about would be the weigh-in. Because I know you quite enjoyed the weigh-in. It got a little bit tasty, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was a bit WWE. I don't think. I guess it'd be interesting to see what the numbers were for the fight. When they come out, but there wasn't really much needle between them. And then at the weigh-in, all of a sudden there's bit of a little flare up. PULEV winding up AJ, but it was all handbags in the end. But it did feel like a bit of a grab for last minute subscribers to pay for the fight.
Yeah, see, I never looked at it like that. Perhaps that's the purist in me. I didn't really look at it like a pay-per-view thing. I kind of looked at it like a mind games thing. Pulev was being nice all week, being the gentleman, and then right at the last minute, throwing a drink in his face and going, "You can't, I'll fucking cut you." It was kind of one of those. It was he's just trying to do it at the last minute. I always think about, when you think about mind games, I always think about Bernard Hopkins and what he did for the Oscar De La Hoya fight, when he was just a gentleman all week. Shook his hand, touched, just nice gentleman, and then the fight comes and he just fucking destroys him.
He's probably the best mental boxer of all time. I mean, we're going to talk about the zone coverage in a bit, but they really did mention an awful lot the defeat to Ruiz.
Yeah.
And how he's recovered from that. So it's interesting that you brought up mind games in a way. And I think a lot of people look on that fight and it's probably that one punch has changed AJ. Not beyond recognition, but you can definitely see a bit of the Frank Bruno's in him when he's in close clinches and fights.
Yeah, no, I think it has changed. We'll get onto that. Just the other thing about the weigh-in, Joshua, he doesn't react to it. I think you see the real Anthony Joshua come out when someone starts being a bit gobby. I think when someone starts becoming a bit gobby, I think that's when you see Joshua who he actually is, instead of the PR, links endorsed JD Sports athlete. He's not that. He's just Josh from the Team GB or from Finchley, whatever. Like you see, I think that's when you see the real him, when someone's calling him a wanker or whatever at a weigh-in. Like I think that's actually him. And I don't think. Did you think like Joshua seemed rattled at the weigh-in at all?
No, I think Joshua has a lot of control over his emotions. He's not someone. He's not like it's not like a Derek Chisora where he's a loose cannon. Everything he does is fairly deliberate.
Mm.
And there's always a lot of talk of, Femi and Anthony, and and then you got the undertones that come with all that. But
yeah,
end of the day, he's someone who's, I'm not going to say he's come from nothing, because he's got both parents, love and family.
yeah.
But obviously he went a bit wayward in his teenage years, and boxing gave him some redemption. And people look at him as some kind of politician, but what's the point of ruining his brand just to satisfy the bloodlust of internet fans, internet purists who think he should sound like I don't know. I was going to say expressions, but this isn't a Spurs podcast. but troops from Arsenal Fan TV sound like that all the time.
Yeah.
And obviously you got a kind of code switch, and I don't have a problem with AJ doing that at all.
No, I think it's just like life, isn't it? You go to work, you're one person. You go to the football, you're another person. You go and see your parents, you're something. You're another person. I think that's just life. We all have our different faces that we put on for the different roads that we kind of walk in life. I don't see a problem with it, and I think if he started to sound like expressions or troops or me, I think the only box I can really think about is like James DeGale. Like James DeGale sounded like he was from the ends, didn't he? And he and that's no discredit to him. He didn't try to be anything but him. And I think if Joshua tried to be like that, then I think his popularity would kind of nosedive, amongst some of the support, some of the boxing support. But I think he handles it really, really well, to be fair to him.
I agree.
Yeah. To get onto the actual fight itself. You said about DAZN's coverage and how they said that the Ruiz fight has changed him. Did you see that like in the performance in like the opening rounds?
It's difficult to say, because in the first couple of rounds you did see him very, as I said in DAZN, Saudi Arabia AJ, keeping him at a distance, fighting behind the jab. But then round 3 he just kind of exploded. So I don't know if it's because he's tentative because of Saudi Arabia, if we're just figuring PULEV out. It's a good fight for him, really, because I don't think PULEV is likely to knock him out. So he could try different things out. I mean, my concern was, in that salvo in the third round, is he wearing himself out? He's not got the best engine as AJ. That was my concern. But no, I think this is a fight where he wasn't really going to exercise any demons, because he wasn't going to get tagged by PULEV. So I think it's just one of those things. You're just trying to build a narrative for the fight, really.
Yeah. I think there was a bit of that. I think the first Ruiz fight has changed him. I think he is definitely more cautious than he used to be, and I think it's unfair on people to expect him to blow people out like in 2-3 rounds at this level. He's not the fighter he was when he was going through Dylan White and Gary Cornish and Charles Martin, because he's not fighting Charles Martin and Gary Cornish anymore. He's fighting world rated elite level heavyweights. PULEV was kind of made to order for him, really. He was he's 39 years old. He's got a 50% knockout ratio. He's hadn't boxed in a while, like most people haven't boxed in a while. And he doesn't have many amazing wins on his record anyway, PULEV. So I think it was kind of made to order for Joshua, really. But I don't think it's fair to expect him to just blast everybody out of there, really. Did you think the fight was over in the third?
I did a bit. I really thought, but then I saw the time was against him. I guess what was in the back of my mind was if PULEV sees this up, maybe he can get AJ in the later round and maybe cause him a few problems. But maybe apart from one round, AJ won every round. But my concern was, one, that he wore himself out, because he was expending a lot of energy throwing those shots, and that if Pulev, I think the com said that on the zone coverage was that if Pulev has been knocked down and he's taken that and he's still fighting on, maybe that takes something out of AJ, saying, you know what, I've taken their best shots and I'm still here. You know, he kept going for the uppercut like with Eubank Jr. and Pulev wasn't really making much of an attempt to block them. So
yeah,
I guess that's probably my thinking. Maybe at round 5-6, you know, maybe Pulev might wear him out here.
Yeah, I think the thing about round 3, which I think we need to talk about, is both times when he was hurt and when he scored knockdowns, Pulev turned his back. He turned his back on Joshua, which you don't really do, because it's. I'm not going to say the Q word, but it's like surrendering. Like, to turn your back on somebody in a fight is like an act of surrender, isn't it? It's like, okay, I don't want to do this. Like, if you was having a scrap in the car park or the dog and duck and you turn your back, it's saying I don't want to fight anymore. What did you think of the referee? Because he was proper getting coated off on commentary, on social media. What did you think of the ref?
He was garbage. One thing I didn't even notice at the time, it didn't give him their instructions, so
no.
That was a red flag. He was given warnings for punching after the bell, and the warnings weren't very clear what he was really saying or doing. And then obviously he turned his back a couple of times. Even the count out at the end was a bit weird. I mean, it was clear Pulev wasn't going to get up. He could have just called it off, but maybe someone had a bet on AJ winning by KO.
Yeah.
But no, the referee was very, very strange. But you know, it'll probably resurface again. It wasn't. If that was a full arena, and you know, more run on it, maybe the ref would have come away with a lot more stick. But it didn't change the result, so it was all academic.
Yeah, I think the IBF would have picked him as a referee because it was their mandatory. So, and just looking at the record for the referee, Dion Dwart, he mostly kind of referees in South Africa, and so you have a look at his record. He's not really refereed he's done a couple of British fights. He's not really refereed in America much. It's mostly in South Africa. So I guess him refereeing a fight of this magnitude for for 3 versions of the world heavyweight title it's a bit of a different kind of level for him, really. It was a bit strange, but like I said, I think the IBF probably picked him. He's one of their referees. It was their mandatory, so they've just gone, yeah, this is our guy. It was really weird. I kind of feel sorry for the referees in a way that, especially now there's crowd back as well. There was 1,000 people in there last night, and they're giving instructions, but they're having to wear a face mask the entire time. Yeah. And I imagine with the crowd there and all the people around the ring screaming and shouting as well, the corners and stuff, which are not supposed to, but it happens, that now it must be hard for the boxers to hear them, right? To hear their instructions.
Well, absolutely. English wasn't Pulev's first language, so I'd imagine he'd be wanting to lip read what the referee is saying if he can't hear him. And I guess a mask probably would affect that, most certainly. And going forward, London's going to be back in Tier 3, so I don't know what the next fight in the UK is going to have any audiences in, but it's definitely something they'll have to consider. Maybe they'll give them a see-through mask or something.
Something, or just test them, because the boxers are getting tested, and perhaps they could just be tested on the day, and so they don't have to wear a mask, and like you said, if London goes into Tier 3 and for our international audience, that just basically means that there won't be any crowds at fights. Maybe they can just test everybody on the day and make it a completely COVID secure environment. After the knockdowns, Joshua kind of went back cautious again, didn't he? He kind of just stuck behind the jab, maybe the odd straight right hand. He kind of was quite cautious again, wasn't he? He was kind of taking his time.
Yeah, it was kind of fighting behind the jab, just went back to basics. What McCracken would have told him to do, just keep it behind the jab, keep him at range. I mean, it's sensible. There was a lot of talk about, I think you mentioned after he fought Klitschko, he had a lot of good ring generalship. When he was hurt, he kind of fended Klitschko off for a couple of rounds and got his faculties back. And he's probably doing a bit of that last night. I mean, obviously he wasn't hurt. But I was like, well, okay, I've let Pulev get back into the fight, but I know I can hurt him. I know I can finish him when I want. So just have a couple of rounds off. And also, again, it's the engine. Maybe doesn't want to waste energy by trying to get rid of him and wears himself out and risk losing. But he only lost maybe one round, and that round was a charity round to Pulev, really. So
Mm.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a
What did
bit.
you?
So gone.
I was just gonna say, what did you think of like? We're obviously talking a lot about Joshua, but what did you kind of think of Pulev? Did you see him as like as a as a threat to Joshua like during the fight? Because I didn't.
Well, no, I mean, I think Bob Arum and Pulev's mum probably the only two people who think they had a chance. And
Yeah.
then as soon as the fight was finished, Arum was championing the Fury fight. So, no, tailor-made opponent for AJ really is mandatory, but someone that makes AJ look good, they give him a bit of confidence back, knocking someone out.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I think I didn't see much of a threat from Pulev at all. There's a few, dirty moves,
Yeah.
rabbit punching. But you said, I think you tweeted during the fight that AJ was pulling him in, which is why he was rabbit punching
Yeah.
a bit.
So Pulev's kind of only like means of attack, really. I noticed he didn't body punch at all, and he would basically just throw 1-2s, and there was no kind of he wouldn't throw a feint. There was no guile behind it. He didn't try to disguise it. He would just throw 1-2s, and so what would happen is he would throw the left jab and then throw the right hand. Joshua would duck it and then grip him up. He would just grab Pulev and hold, and he was holding quite a lot. And in order to try and break, unless the referee is going to call break, then they're going to keep fighting. And so Pulev kept hitting him in the side of the head. I didn't see a load of, I don't know about you, but I didn't see many like blatant rabbit punches, like Zab Judah on Mayweather, rabbit punches. Like there wasn't anything like that. It was all kind of in the side. And that's what was happening. Joshua was gripping him up, and then so Pulev would just whack him in the ribs, whack him in the side of the head and wait for the referee to kind of call break. He was just, yeah, for me, Joshua was holding a lot, but not dirty, not in a dirty way, like he was, deducting a point kind of thing. It was just like he's just gripping. He was smart. It was kind of Mayweather-esque in a way. He just kind of just wait for him to come in, grip him up, and just let the ref kind of break. But yeah, I thought Pulev was poor. He didn't offer anything, and they kept mentioning on commentary about, oh, he's got a good jab. It's like, yeah, but what else has he got? He didn't throw a left hook. He didn't. There was no variety. It was just jab, straight right hand over the top, and Joshua would see it coming a mile off, and would just duck.
And AJ looked so much bigger than him. I thought, because European fighters, they fight upright, they fight tall.
Yeah.
And it was almost like Pulev was almost trying to crouch a bit like he was Tyson. So that probably made it a bit more difficult, and that's probably why Joshua went for the uppercut an awful lot in the fight.
Yeah, I think because he was crouching down, and especially there was, like I said, there was a little bit of holding as well, and because Pulev wasn't really offering much, I think the uppercut was there for him. In a normal fight against a more live opponent, perhaps you wouldn't be so kind of Chris Eubank Jr. with the uppercuts. He was. I think he felt like, I can start winging a few of these in here because A, these are working, and B, he's not really kind of offering much. You said you kind of gave Pulev a round. That was about the same. I had him about a round as well. What about the stoppage? It kind of came from the uppercut, didn't initially. He scored a knockdown with the uppercut.
It was looping. It was a weird uppercut. It was like a looping kind of uppercut. It wasn't like the rest of the uppercuts were close in, but this one was kind of a loop, and I think it maybe disguised the jab. It was a disguised uppercut anyway. It wasn't like an out and out Eubank Jr. special, and that's probably why it knocked him down. I don't think he saw it coming. He wasn't braced for the contact, and that's what done him.
It was a cracking shot, and the difference was the hand speed, wasn't it? Joshua's hand speed is so much faster than most heavyweights, and he throws in like bunches as well, doesn't he? And I think that was kind of the difference last night. But he threw that kind of looping uppercut, dropped him, and it was definitely over after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all over. Maybe some referees might have called it off after the first knockdown. It was clear that it was all over the shop.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed about Pulev, it doesn't really have. I mean, obviously he survived the third round salvo, but it doesn't look like somebody who knows what to do when he's in trouble, and that kind of manifested itself in him turning his back on AJ twice in the third round.
Yeah.
And I guess in round 9 he didn't really know where he was, so that's a bit different. But normally, instead of turning your back, maybe take a knee, clear your head, get the count, run around a bit, clear your head. But it's like he tried to turn his back, he didn't know what to do with himself, and He's very, 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 very strange fighter is Pulev. Don't know what his legacy will be when he hangs him up. Just a contender.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think if you look at it, he only had one loss going into last night's fight, and that was against Vlad Klitschko in 2014, and he was knocked down a couple of times that night. Actually, Vlad Klitschko, I remember that. I think it was one of the early Box Nation fights. T, I don't know if you remember.
I remember the fight, but
Vlad
yeah, I remember.
smashed him to bits. He was fucking amazing.
He hurt Vlad though.
He did.
It's a bit. It reminds me of Callum Smith, Rocky Fielding. Smith was hurt.
Yeah,
he just carried on, just winging the shots in anyway.
Yeah, it was kind of like during the dark days, like after Vlad had beat David Haye, everybody was like, that was like the only fight there for Vlad, and he'd beat David Haye, and I think he might have even beat Alexander Povetkin by then as well. There was like no one for him to fight, and he just like, oh, fight Pulev, this will be decent, and Vlad Klitschko just fucking smashed him to bits. Yeah, but you're right. I remember I think he got hurt with a jab, which was really odd. But I think he got hurt with a jab quite early in the fight, and then Vlad Klitschko just started winging in left hooks. And I think he dropped him with a left hook quite early on. But it was a cracking fight. I remember that. That was really good. And then the finish for the Joshua Pulev last night, that came off a straight right hand after the initial knockdown. He just threw a straight right hand over the top and just dropped him on his back, and that was pretty much it, wasn't it, T?
Yeah, there's no coming back to it after that. I mean, the referee did a full count.
Yeah.
But no, he wasn't getting up. I don't think, one, he didn't want any more, and two, it was no way he's going to win the fight anyway. He was at least 8-9 rounds down, if you include the knockdowns as well, maybe more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was a fair finish. Joshua will be happy. It's been a long year with the pandemic, and there's been a lot of talk going on this year. Wilder's admission that he turned down the AJ fight, Fury's chat. It's been a long year for him, so I think to end the year with a KO in front of some fans, they'll probably give him a little boost that he probably feels he needs.
Somebody actually was talking about Wilder admitting that that he turned down the fight to fight Fury instead. I had somebody in my mentions last night saying, mate, he literally admitted he ducked AJ. I don't see that as Wilder ducking AJ. I just see him as him taking a different fight of a equal, if not better, opponent. Like,
it's the same as a quitting conversation, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's how people want to take what happened. I mean, Joshua probably feels vindicated that he wants to fight people and people aren't fighting him.
Yeah.
I don't see the logic in Wilder ducking Joshua because it's more money for him.
Yeah.
But he was mandated, well, maybe not mandated, but it's in the contract to fight Fury. He could have had step aside money, but he wanted to fight Fury again.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly he's turned down Joshua to fight some no mark. So, but it's just funny to say that Wilder ducked because it's funny because he's so gobby, so he's just boxing bants, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all good fun. It is all good fun. It was just funny to me that that's how people choose to. Then, like you said, people choose to believe what they want to believe. It was just it was quite funny to me. We both watched it on DAZN. What did you think about their coverage? They had Gabby Logan. She was very BBC, wasn't she? She
got a bit of grief actually because I think she said maybe AJ wants a couple of fights first and then fight Fury. People are like, who the fuck is she? Yeah. I think Dan Raphael was when he tweeted that. Obviously not in those exact words.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, she's a bit Alan Partridge. I'm fairly certain there's a thread on Twitter somewhere of like gaffes that she's made.
Oh, bless her.
Letters in a long line.
Yeah, they've obviously, they've just launched in DAZN on. DAZN just launched in the UK, and they obviously want to get like British kind of presenters or whatever that the British audience will know. But I think it's kind of a risk when you've got someone like Gabby Logan, who's like a really good presenter and has been around a long time, and I imagine will have some boxing knowledge, but she's not like Anna Woolhouse who does boxing all the time.
Yeah.
She's just like, so she's around fighters a lot. She's, Sky have like a whole, she's around boxers a lot. So she gets kind of, she understands boxing a little bit more. Whereas Gabby Logan will do the athletics. She'll do football. She'll do everything. And I think that will kind of manifest itself in little gaffes, kind of like last night, really.
The thing of boxing, it's not really a mainstream sport.
Yeah.
So when people feel it's not been covered with the respect it deserves, it's going to generate a lot of anger. They're going to think, well, what you feel are you think the noble art deserve no better than a match of the day presenter,
Mm.
and DAZN are finding their way, seeing what works, what doesn't work. I mean, I'm not someone who that kind of I guess I don't even know what you'd even call it. In between fights that they go to Gabby Logan and Barazzi.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't pay a lot of attention to what they're saying.
No.
Barazzi seemed all right. I don't think Jonas said much, but that might have just been me joining at a bad time because I joined it pretty much in time for the AJ. I saw basically a Cody fight, but I didn't see Jonas say much. It was mainly Barazzi and Logan doing the talking. But they seemed all right. But it's the first fight. I'm sure they'll get better as the deal goes on. Is it the same deal for Canelo v Smith, or was that on?
Well, that's in Texas, so they're not gonna. I don't think they'll have a Gabby Logan type person.
Okay.
It'll be their usual US kind of broadcast team. Brian Kenny and all of that lot. Really, I fucking hate Brian Kenny on comms. He's too busy. He's too busy bickering all the time with like he did the Spence Garcia fight last week, and he was like bickering with Dan Goosen or Joe Goosen all the time. Like he's asking his opinion and then just like telling him he's wrong all the time. It's like, mate, this is like a fucking Hall of Fame trainer. And you're just like a guy that's did ESPN for a few years. And it's like, why are you fucking just picking fights with him all the time? It was quite funny. It was quite funny, but it was also like a little bit annoying as well. But yeah, it was fine. The coverage, it was a little bit weird for me that they had, Joshua Buatsi, who's managed by Anthony Joshua, and asking him to comment on the fight. It was a little bit weird. What do you expect him to say, really? It's like literally his manager. It was a little bit odd. What did you think about Joshua's post-fight interview?
Oh, it's just so corny. It's just like motivational speech. David Brent, MC Hammer mixed with some drum and bass shit, And obviously he's not concussed because he wasn't hurt in the fight. I can't put it down to that or anything. But I mean, I even made a few notes on the AJ walk-on. He picks about 5 different songs.
Yeah.
Does a little monologue about, glad to have the fans back. And
I forgot about that. That little weird thing, yeah.
But then, I kind of I'm not a boxing hardcore purist or anything, but you kind of put that to one side. And what we mentioned earlier on is that I don't want to say the casuals, but people who are not hardcore boxing fans watch AJ and they'll lap that up.
Yeah.
They'll lap that up. And I don't know a lot about the UK grime or hip hop scene. And the first song he had was from a guy called Potter Paper.
Right.
And he said, like AJ at Wembley. So, I did tweet my annoyance at AJ just won't pick one song and go with it like Eubank Jr. does. But so then it gives a bit of exposure to UK MCs and it's got a few different songs and it's cool. Maybe I'm the one. Maybe it's like the Principal Skinner meme.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the one that's out of touch.
right. Yeah.
But no, after the fight, it looked like he was coating off Eddie Hearn, like almost like passive aggression. It's like, talk to my promoter. He'll answer your question. I'm like, well, they're asking you, mate.
Yeah. And he was kind of like that. Do you remember? I think it might have been the Povetkin fight after he beat Povetkin, and they were trying to ask him about Deontay Wilder. And you'll remember in our WhatsApp group, I was sending messages in caps lock, say his name. Like, you want him to just say, Deontay Wilder, I want you next. I'm coming for you. Like, you want some fucking, like, you want to say something like fucking out there to get people talking, and he didn't. Like, he just kind of fucking, what does the crowd want? Yay, who does the crowd want me to fight? Oh, Eddie. It's like, like, everybody knows the fight that everybody wants. Like, it's the fight. It'd be massive. It'd be absolutely massive if everybody could get like vaccinated and stuff. Then it would you'd sell a stadium out. It would do massive pay-per-view numbers. We know the fight. Just say his name. It was really odd, wasn't it?
I think it's just the business hat on, isn't it, really? That if he says he wants to fight and it doesn't happen, he knows he'll be the fall guy. So maybe that's just him being a bit tactical about it all. Because I did see a few tweets saying what me and you have said, say the guy's name, call him out. Then other people are saying, well, if it falls apart, I guess he doesn't want to be, part of that. So that's probably why he's been a bit reluctant to outright say it.
I think you're right. I think there's a part of him that probably would like to just fucking call him out and just have it and say something really wild just to get some attention. But then he's got to bear in mind, well, it's not completely in my control. Like, there's Bob Arum involved, there's Frank Warren somehow involved, there's BT Sport involved. They've got a piece of Tyson Fury. I've got a mandatory with Alexander Usyk that he's got to fulfill. There's that, and yeah, there's the loads of different things that he's not in control of. He doesn't want to then call out Tyson Fury, and then it all falls to bits, and he looks like a wanker because he's the guy. He's the A side, if you like. Just about he's the bigger name, isn't he? He's the bigger brand, and so the expectation is on him, isn't it? And so I get it. I do get it. I don't blame him. Really.
There's a thing of if Fury's grubbing off as he has done, and the fight doesn't happen, nothing happens to him. You know what I mean? Fury's just kind of in his own lane.
Yeah.
And if AJ says, I fucking don't know why I keep calling him AJ. Anthony Joshua, if he keeps saying, I'm going to fight this guy next, and it doesn't happen, he's going to look like a tool, and he gets grief anyway. I mean, there's twats on Twitter we keep calling them Femi, which is a real bugbear of mine.
Yeah.
And, if he calls a fight out and it doesn't happen, then it's just, Matchroom FC Twitter will defend him and people will go against it, and it's just bullshit. But it's, in my opinion, it's clear Anthony Joshua wants to fight Fury and wants to, close it off, unite the division. I don't think he'll retire. I think he's probably got another, maybe at max 10 years left in him, but it depends. If he fights Usyk, then I'm not sure he wins that. So who knows?
Yeah, I think Usyk's a tough fight. It's a really, really tough fight. Usyk didn't look amazing against Chisora, but you can see that he can hang at heavyweight, no problem at all. So I wouldn't be devastated if he fights Usyk next, because Usyk's an elite level operator, and it's a real challenge for Joshua. But we all want to see Joshua Fury or Fury Joshua for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Like, that's what we all want to see, and hopefully we do get to see it next. It just makes absolute sense to do it.
Yeah, I think in my heart of hearts it would be Joshua v Usyk next, and Wilder v Fury 3, and then the winners of those fight each other. Imagine if it's Wilder v Usyk.
You read my mind. You read my mind. I was just about to say that. You stole my joke.
Just imagine it.
So Wilder Usyk it is then.
Can you imagine if AJ beat Fury? Can you imagine that?
Oh yeah, I can't see a world where AJ does beat Fury. I think Fury beats him 10 times out of 10. I think the Ruiz fight has taken something from Joshua. I think he's much more cautious now, and I think if the Fury that turned up against Wilder in the second fight, where he just imposes his size and his will and his strength the punching power he does have on Joshua, I think he's just going to knock him out. I think he can beat him either way. I think he can beat him any way he wants to. But you never know. Fury could just.
It's heavyweight boxing, and
Joshua's a puncher.
And what they said on commentary as well was McCracken wants Joshua to fight behind a jab, and Joshua wants a war. And Joshua does have a lot of boxing skill. I mean, he's not Lomachenko level amateur. We having like nearly 400 fights as an amateur, but he fought to a good level as an amateur, and he can box. And I think I would probably say 8 times out of 10 Fury wins, but you just don't know. I mean, there's so many variables with Tyson Fury, and a lot of them aren't to do with boxing. It's his mental health, his mind state. He might turn up on fight night on some Oliver McCall crying shit, and Joshua just does him in. Yeah. Or I don't know, maybe Joshua thumbs him in the eye, and he reaches for the eye, and Joshua just throws a Hail Mary, and Fury's out. It doesn't meet the count. It's just so many variables of Fury, and that's what makes a fight exciting.
Or not every referee is a Jack Reese. Who's going to look in Fury's eyes and see he's all right, and then give him the full count like he did in the first Fury Wilder fight. in a situation like that where Joshua could hurt Fury, which is very possible, and knock him down, you might have a Ian John Lewis in the ring and just go, "There's enough."
Exactly that.
Or a referee like last night, who's not experienced enough, but has been, given the fight by the sanctioning body and just goes, yeah, that's it, that's enough, kind of thing, So yeah, I guess there is a world where Joshua could beat Fury, but I'd have to agree with you. I think it's 8 or 9 times out of 10 Fury would win the fight for me. But we want to see it.
I mean, earlier when I showed you a tweet by Campbell Hatton, Ricky Hatton's son, that he likes both Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and it's a bit like football partisanship, isn't it, with these two? No one seems to like the pair. It's either you're on one side or the other, and that's probably the way the world has gone with, elections in different countries and everything else. So it's the same with boxing, and that's what makes a fight so perfect.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think everybody now has a dog in the fight, and people will say, like Campbell Hatton will say, "Oh, like both of them, may the best man win." I think, you liar. You want someone to win. I can't watch anything. I don't know about you, T. I can't even watch a game of bowls without wanting someone to win. I don't know why. It's just part of who I am. I need to root for somebody. But yeah, I think you're right about, especially on social media, everyone is just, like you said, they're Matchroom FC or they're a PBC person or they like Top Rank. It's like, it's become really weird where they support promoters instead of supporting fighters. I think it kind of shows the way the business is now, where the promoters are kind of the be all and end all. And they want to make themselves the stars as much. Well, Eddie Hearn in particular, he wants to make himself kind of the face of it more, sometimes at the expense of his fighters, really. But
you touched on that earlier on in the week when we were chatting. You said that
Hearn
doesn't seem to promote as much as he used to. Well, paraphrasing.
Yeah, no, I think we've had this conversation. I think I asked Flav this question on an earlier episode. I was like, do you think that sometimes Eddie Hearn puts himself in the spotlight too much, and that's at the expense of his fight? That's kind of what I was getting at earlier in the week, and I think there is a concern there where it's like he will go on Sky Sports News and do karaoke. It's like, well, why don't you get one of your boxers to go on Sky Sports News and do karaoke? It's not about you. It's about your fighters. That's kind of my concern with him. But at the same time, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom are a brand. And if you are linked to, it's like being WWE. If you are with Vince McMahon, you are therefore a star by extension. And so if you're signed to Matchroom, you are a big deal because you're signed to Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Exactly. So I think there's a bit of both, but it is just a concern of mine, a bit of a bugbear that I think, like, mate, you love and he does love the attention, and that's fine. But it's just like, I think he could put a little bit more into giving his fighters exposure instead of himself. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of doing it back to front. It's a bit like, I don't know, Jay-Z being the biggest rapper in the world. He doesn't need to go on the radio station and freestyle. I guess Eddie Hearn doesn't feel he has to go on the radio and promote Barazzi or, I don't know, Callum Smith. Yeah. He feels he's above that now. And as you've said, it's a brand. It's just being linked to the brand of Matchroom is enough. And for some fighters, it's enough. And for others, I guess they don't want to be part of that. And maybe that's why Tyson Fury has stayed away.
Yeah. And I think fighters need to, and I've again touched on this before on the podcast, fighters need to be more creative in the way they promote themselves. You look at Ryan Garcia, he'll have like some hot Instagram chicks smashing him while he's wearing a body belt, like punching him in the ribs while he's wearing a body belt. And he'll put it on YouTube and shitloads of people watch it because the kid gets it. He gets that it's not just about, oh, I'm doing my road work and, oh, I've had a tough life and, I'm in the best shape of my life, I'm going to smash his face in. Like, we've heard all that a million times. And I think you have to be a little bit more creative to try and grow your audience. Because I think if you talk about, oh, I'm going to smash his boat in later on, you're just going to get hardcore boxing fans. That's it. You're not going to really go outside of that. So I think it's up to fighters as well.
Absolutely. We spoke about Sam Jones, Joe Joyce's promoter. Now, yes. Joe Joyce is not a great talker by any stretch of the imagination, but Sam Jones made that promo work by just being gobby. I mean, you remember Joseph Parker,
Yeah.
His promoter was a weird cunt.
Was it David
But
Higgins? Is that his name?
yeah, something Higgins, and it made you pay attention. So maybe you're going to see more fighters going towards these smaller promoters who can do that for them, because it's not worth Scott Quigg getting an Instagram influencer to smash into the body because he's just not got the personality for it. And if you are that way, if you are like Scott Quigg, get a promoter who like Sam Jones who will promote you in that way, because it's a necessary evil now.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think social media is like it's everything now, isn't it? It's like the main. Yeah, it's David Higgins. He's that crazy bastard. Yeah, he's like a promoter / manager. Yeah. But Sam Jones is kind of like this. He's almost like a wrestling style manager. He's like Bobby the Brain Heenan. He's just there to just wind you up and go. And he was annoying me. I was watching that tape across the table. I was thinking, this is a dickhead. But I was just like,
you can't take your eyes off him.
Nah, it's like you're smart because you're annoying me. And I don't really care who won the Dubois fight, really. I was just really interested in it as a fight. But it was just like, you're annoying me, but that works. That works. It's we were talking about Arsenal Fan TV earlier. It fucking winds people up and it gets people to engage, and it's really, really smart. Perhaps more boxers should have more wrestling style managers that are just there, but they should stand at ringside with like an implement in their hand, like the old school wrestling managers, really. Like
Jim Cornette. The genius.
Yeah, the genius.
Scroller.
Yeah, with his little scroll, or like Jim Cornette with the tennis racket in his hand, like. The loaded tennis racket to like hit Pulev on the back halfway through when he backs off against the ropes. Like that's what we
love
need.
That.
Imagine it, like
there's some like pub landlord with like a costume.
Yeah. Referee like turns his back because someone's dropped their gum shield, and then someone gets in the ring with like brass knuckles and just bang.
Short sleeve white shirt with like a big pen in the pocket, you know what I mean? We look like a pub landlord.
Yeah. Yeah. Just slides it under the ropes, who picks it up and just like nails his opponent with it. Like that's what we need in boxing today. More
Absolutely.
Wrestling style antics. Really. You said you saw a bit of a Coley.
I did, yeah.
Oh, that guy was too small. Was it me, or was he just far too small?
He just looked out of his depth, and it's not Matchroom's fault. Glovacki had, contracted COVID-19.
Yeah.
They had to fill the gap. They found someone at short notice. He was unranked.
Yeah.
But I feel that, talking about the pandemic, it's affected Baratsi's had to have been on the brink of a title shot this year, or at least fighting for a title. And Coley had a title fight. It got taken away from him. Baratsi 2021 has got to be looking at, well, maybe fighting Yard in the first quarter if he doesn't rematch Arthur, and then go on to fight for a proper belt, because it's the Olympics this year, next year, I believe. So we've really got to get in there before the next batch come along.
Yeah, it's true. I think Coley's going to fight Glovacki in the first quarter of the new year, you'd think. Coley's not exactly expended himself really in that fight. He just wiped the guy out in, 2 rounds? I think.
Hang on. Does someone say he beats Breedis?
I think there was some talk that he beats. I feel like somebody did say that.
I think it was Eddie Hearn.
Yeah. I think he said. I don't think he said Breedis in particular. He said he's going to beat everybody at cruiser, but Breedis is the man, like at cruiser right now. He said that knowing that Breedis is probably going to move up to heavyweight.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going to move up to heavyweight. There's nothing left for him at cruiser now. He's not going to fight a Coley. I don't think that does anything for him. He's already beat Dorticos. He's already beat Gavlocki, as dodgy as it was. There's Junior Makabu, who's got the WBC title. I don't think he's going to fight him. He'd smash Junior Makabu. As much as I love him, he's not going to give Breedis a good fight. Breedis is probably going to go up to heavyweight now.
I think Breedis could take on a Coley. I think that wouldn't be that bad at all, in the sense that, as I've said, the Matchroom thing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the main event, because I don't see Breedis as a talker, but surely there's got to be a big fight for Matchroom and have a Cody v Breedis on the undercard. But if he moves up, it'll have to be Bridger weight surely, because
yeah, there is obviously the whole WBC Bridgerweight thing, which is between 190 or 200 and 225. He could go up and do that. He's fought for the WBC title before. So he would have a pretty decent relationship with them in the WBC. So I guess that's possible. But I don't see it. I think he's going to go up to heavyweight and fight some. I don't know what he does at heavyweight. He's too small, but
exactly.
Yeah, and he's 35. Perhaps he's going to try and go up and, I don't know, fight a Gassiev or fight somebody at heavyweight. You know, a big name at home in Latvia. Maybe not anything too. No, I don't see him fighting any giants. He's not going to fight someone that's like 6'5", 6'7". I don't see him fighting Deontay Wilder or anyone like that. But it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, Okole's probably gonna fight for a title in the first quarter of the new year. Obviously, like you just mentioned, the undercard kind of fell out of bed, didn't it? There was a couple of pullouts. There was obviously Golovkin pulled out right at the last minute with COVID. Do you think that the pay-per-view was saved by Floyd Mayweather turning up?
Yeah, massively. I didn't know the guy was there, and then I was thinking, where's AJ going? And bang, Mayweather's right there. But all the talk before the fight was of Tyson Fury being in the audience, and he wasn't. I'm not sure why. I probably missed a tweet somewhere where he said he wasn't going to show up, and that's what was going to help sell it. It wasn't a great pay per view. I've seen a few tweets comparing it to Cleverly v Bellew, but Anthony Joshua, people don't care. It's just him there. He just sells the card by himself, and it's fine.
Yeah, that's it. People wanted to watch Anthony Joshua. Yes, I would have liked to see the Okolie fight because it would have been for a world title, and Golovkin's a good operator, but that was about it, really. I wasn't particularly fussed about anything else, really. Yeah, so overall, I'm not sure 25 quid was value, but if you paid it, then good for you. That's about that. But then just after the weigh-in on Friday, some historic Shannon Courtney kind of came out. They kind of had a anti-Islamic kind of tone to them. Mm-hmm. What do you kind of feel about this kind of thing about old tweets being drug up and then people getting dragged for it?
These are the rules of engagement. It's not pleasant, but if you're in the public eye, this is what's going to happen. Maybe someone in Matchroom has to kind of do a sweep of people's historic tweets and delete them. Or if they're not going to delete them, apologize sincerely and make some steps to build bridges between you and the offended community. It was a long time ago. I mean, reading it, she doesn't say the word sorry, but I'm sure she is. People grow. There's a lot of talk about cancel culture, and in a way, I'm for cancel culture because people need to be accountable for the things they say and do. You need that accountability. Sometimes cancel culture can be ridiculous, but it's there to hold people to account. Before social media was a thing, celebrities and sports stars were up here. Obviously, you can't see them on a podcast. My hands up high. Yeah. But now everyone's on the same level where, you can call the president of the United States, see you next Tuesday, or you can call Carl Froch an idiot for believing in flat earth. And that wasn't there 20 years ago. And if boxers are going to have historic tweets which are bad, they're going to be called on it. And, anyone who works in box listening to this podcast, now what I'll say to you is, say sorry, but build bridges with the offended community. I'm not going to say do a photo opportunity at a mosque. That's a bit, but so that you've moved on from that. Maybe she still believes in it. Fuck knows. But if she doesn't and she's sorry, then go out a word and just try and see the best in people, really.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
What do you think of it?
I don't like this thing where we go hunting for old tweets and post them online and go, got ya. Like, I don't kind of like that kind of gotcha kind of thing. At the same time, she tweeted some not nice shit, and I think you got to own it. I think there's an element of her, she has to own it, and I think that I think she should own it, and if she does own it and she apologizes sincerely, and I think you're right, perhaps reach out to the offended community. Don't do it publicly. but maybe she should go down to a mosque. Don't take the fucking camera crew with you, but maybe do go down there and try to learn something, because every day's a school day and there's always something to learn, especially about a culture that we're perhaps not a part of. And I think there's never any harm in learning about something that you didn't know about before. But it's a bugbear of mine that people do apologies without saying the word sorry. That really fucks me off, because to apologize is the act of saying sorry, and if you don't say sorry, then you're not really apologizing. It's just a statement really that your PR people have put out for you. I don't like that. But she was young. She said something stupid. Fuck, I'm 37. I still say stupid shit every day. I've probably done it on this podcast. People do stupid shit, man. And I think
That's exactly it. I mean, I said earlier on, if I had Twitter in my teenage years, then I'd be fucked as well. But then you grow older, you get a job in an office, and there's different people in the office. Whether there be different communities, or there might be part of the LGBTQ community. The different people, and you realise that you're a fucking idiot for earlier beliefs you may have held, and people grow. I mean, boxing takes a lot of people who may not have otherwise around the world, see different communities and realise, I had these earlier views and they're bollocks.
Yeah.
People go all the time. You have to allow room for growth.
Yeah. You do. I think as long as she, like you said, she's got to own it. And we've all had to go for our tweets at time and say certain words and fucking have a clear out at times. It happens. We do dumb shit, but I think that should be the end of it now, really. Hopefully she learns from it and perhaps tries to expand her mind a little bit, and perhaps go, I think, like you said, reach out to that community and perhaps try to learn something. All right.
Yeah,
go on.
Yeah, it's all gone.
No, I was just about to wrap up, basically, unless you had anything else to add. Okay, well, we'll be back in the week. We're going to get Luke Williams on to talk about the Canelo fight. So that should be good. Looking forward to that. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks, T.
Yep, ciao for now.
All right, take care.
Bye.